Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at TY24 Sports. It's all down at the bottom on the ticker. Now, let me hit you guys with the picks. We got a big week coming up in football. Also, appreciate all the prayers for, everybody down here in Florida, experiencing things with the hurricane. It seems like it's passing now. I'll check up on some people when I get off. But as you see the picks right here, plus bonuses, so stay tuned for the bonuses. But we got the Seahawks plus 7.5. If they do lose to the Niners, it'll probably be a touchdown or less game. So I did plus 7.5. Got D.Metcalf over 63.5 yards. We got Brandon Aiyuk over 63.5. And we got Jennings over 30.5. And I want you to split some of those up. Do like twos or threes. Don't put everything on one ticket. Or maybe just do an NFL, do a college, do a MLB, and see what hits. College football, we got James Madison money line, Western Kentucky money line, and Louisiana Tech money line. Since they have the Thursday and Wednesday games now, even though I wasn't able to get on for obvious reasons, there's going to be football every day all the way until like Christmas time, basically, with the bowl games and playoffs and everything coming, because the Group of 5 will be having Tuesday and Wednesday night games now on. And you already got the high school and along with the college on Thursdays and Fridays. Okay, so anyway, MLB, we got a New York Yankees money line, and we got the Cleveland Guardians money line, plus bonus picks. So we all know, if you really know football, 49ers and Seahawks about a decade ago really started, picking up, because the Seahawks, they had their run in the early 2000s when the 49ers kind of faded at T.O. left, and then they met up again around, I say, 2011, 2012-ish. I think 49ers popped off first, and then the Seahawks started going with that playoff run. 2010, they kind of missed in 11, and they got Russell Wilson and went right on that run, with him being that rookie, leading them deep into the playoffs and then winning the Super Bowl the second year. So that was always, the Russell Wilson versus the Alex Smith, and then it was the Russell Wilson versus the Colin Kaepernick, and then the famous Richard Sherman. Don't put me on the garbage receiver like Michael Crabtree in the NFC Championship in 2013. So it's a lot of history. It's a lot of hard hitting, even to this day. You got defense. You don't see a physical running game. Two nice game managing quarterbacks that can make big plays too, and Geno Smith and Brock Purdy. I believe Debo Samuel should be coming back from a nagging injury, but you still got Jennings out there and Aiyuk. I'm not sure when they're going to start mixing in Ricky Pearsall. He should be healed from the gunshot wound by now, but I don't know if they want to just bring him along up slowly. And George Kittle, of course. But it's been a little bit of struggle without the passing effect of Christian McCaffrey, because Christian McCaffrey is a very effective running, but what makes him even more effective is the outside running and the passing, because they have one of the best young running backs in Mason. But the thing is, he's a running back. He's a true running back. He isn't bringing the catching and, the dynamicness of a Christian McCaffrey that spreads defenses out and makes a mismatch for linebackers, in the passing game. So that's kind of limited 49ers when they get to the red zone, because they're still driving. It's just, getting turnovers because Brock Purdy's trying to force things a little bit. But as far as college football, before we get back to NFL, just because that's the first thing popped up, this is J.D. Pickell. You guys go follow him from On3 Football, projecting his playoffs. I've seen a lot of people doing playoff projections, but they don't have a group of 5 team in the 12 spot. You have to always remember there's only 11 spots for Power 5 teams, because the top group of 5 team will get that 12 spot. And they actually were talking about that today on Crane and Company. Army and Navy are winning. They're both undefeated, and they're blowing people out. If they end up undefeated come conference championship week, they would probably have to put them in before they even finish their season, because Army versus Navy game, even though I want to say they're in the same conference, they may or may not be. Let me check. But I know that's considered a non-conference game. That's weird. They had that in the Big 12 sometimes too, because there's so many teams. You'll have a non-conference game between conference teams, because it's actually going to be the week after the American Conference Championship, which is, I know Navy's in there, but I want to say Army may be in there too, or maybe Army's in there. Okay, so Navy is in the American Conference. Let me see. So it's Army. Yeah, but that would not be considered a conference game. So if they were to run the table and go to the conference championship, maybe they'll meet up in that, and maybe they'll just get rid of the regular Army-Navy game. I don't know how they'll play it or whatever, but they were also saying, what if it's like a one-loss Navy and an undefeated Army, or one-loss Army and an undefeated Navy, but then you also have like a Liberty undefeated, who they give the playoff spot to. But I think Army and Navy, with them being in the American Conference that's stronger than the Sun Belt, they'll probably still get in the playoff. Plus, I don't think the college football committee wants any problems with the U.S. government. Cheating Florida State out of the playoff is one thing, but you don't want to cheat out the service academies, because that could really, even if they don't directly do something to you, they can indirectly do stuff, because they've been really kind to, college football, as far as the NIL and overturning things and everything getting overturned with the NCAA when it goes to the Supreme Court. But if you mistreat their own, in my opinion, no matter what people say, human beings are human beings, and I don't feel like cheating Army or Navy out of a playoff spot that they've rightfully earned just because their season isn't over, because they knew that it was a possibility. I know they probably didn't think in their wildest years, even though Army and Navy have the most national championships technically, or they did at one point. I don't know what it is now, but they were getting championships in the early 1900s up until World War II. That's when people stopped sending their kids to the service academies, because I guess young men and parents weren't as tough as they used to be. It used to be an honor to serve your country. Not saying go send your kids to the military, but used to have like the Roger Staubachs, the David Robinsons. Great athletes were coming either from HBCUs or from military academies. So it's not out of the realm of reality for service academies to win national championships. The only reason why they don't have the top guys is because the top guys are like, why would I risk, my life, and when I could go be a professional athlete? But best in shape and, the best discipline going to get is the service academy. They're just not getting the athletes, but they have some of the best structure, because these guys are war ready. But, not to get too lost in that, but basically he's saying that Texas #1, which I think will probably change, Ohio State 2, Miami 3, and then Iowa State at the 4th spot, because the top 4 Power 5 champions, well, actually the top 4 conference champions, but they assume that they'll rank the Power 4 ahead of the Group of 5 every time, which they probably will. Then the next conference champion would be Boise State at the 12th spot. The 5 spot will be the highest Big Ten at large, would have been Oregon, assuming that they lose to Ohio State and then lose again in the Big 12 championship. Or who knows? Maybe they beat Ohio State and lose to somebody else and lose twice. Who knows how it falls? I think they play Michigan too. But at the 6th spot, you got Clemson playing Alabama 11. Then you would have Penn State playing Ole Miss number 10, and then you have Texas A&M after that big win over Tennessee. They jumped all the way into the playoff picture at going against number 9 Georgia. I don't even know if Georgia's going to make it. I said they'd make it with 3 losses, but they're still getting players getting in trouble, getting arrested. I'm not going to say that's all the coach's fault. Sometimes it's just you got a group of guys where you're going through stuff like that. Okay, I thought that was something with the Hurricanes. Let's go back. All right. So yeah, let's go check out NFL's Instagram page. I don't mean to be so long-winded, and see what's going on as far as the promos for tonight's game and for all of this week. I've been kind of caught up, with the storm like everybody else down here, canceling and everything. So I haven't been watching it, as frequently. But it says the 49ers are the only team with 4 players with 200-plus receiving yards in 2024. So that's despite missing Christian McCaffrey through, I want to say 4 or 5 games they played. So it says they got, when I'm looking at this picture, you got Aiyuk, you got Deebo Samuels that's been kind of banged up. You got the tight end George Kittle, and then you got Jennings. Now, he's the big surprise, unless you watch the Super Bowl where he showed out. But this is some of the highlights of some of the big plays. Jennings, the first guy you see. No, I'm sorry, that's Kittle. I saw that 5, and I thought it was the what is Jennings, number 15? But that's George Kittle, actually getting his foot and his elbow into the end zone. So good Brock Purdy, no throw, he's putting it where the defense couldn't get to it. Okay, now we got Brock Purdy stepping up. This is a kind of recent week 3 game. Who was that going up over top? Is that? Okay, yeah, that looks like Jennings, number 15, yeah. Okay, so, he's climbing that ladder, and he's a pretty tall guy. but he's going up over against a pretty tall DB in number 37. And then this is the Vikings game, where the Vikings shocked the world and they put it on the 49ers. I think I predicted that. But this is Debo, doing what Debo does, wide receiver, running back, utility guy, Then we got who is this? Is this gonna be Aiyuk? Yep. And Ayuk's got that long speed, with the height he has, So that's why he got that big contract. Also, this is another funny play, kind of reminiscent to the old days of the Saints, taking it back, having that tough defense down there in Louisiana on Monday Night Football. I don't know if they're going to show it, but they actually got them a big guy that caught the ball. They're just basically showing highlights of big guys catching the ball and running with it. This is the Dolphin offensive lineman that actually had a receiving touchdown, I think, last year. I don't know if they called it back or not, but this was pretty dope. Defensive tackle gets an interception on Patrick Mahomes, and he gets out of there, man. I mean, he had to take it, 40 yards or something? He was looking real athletic, If he would have done that in a college, I'm sure they would have made him a first-round pick. The combine, they love, stuff like that. I don't know if this is his second time. Oh, yeah. So is that the same guy or is that a different guy? I don't know, but they got a history of big guys catching the ball and moving with it. So you got to watch those big guys down there in Louisiana. Also, the Bears have landed in London. So this week, the Bears are going to be playing in London. So shout out to Chicago. You see them teaching football to the youth out there in London because they're trying to bring football internationally. And then they have a swipe for a cause. Use your NFL Extra Points Visa card, and you will donate 1% of net sales up to $100,000 to support the U.S. Wheelchair Football League. So this is the Wheelchair League. These guys got helmets and everything, so that's pretty dope. They're doing, for the people that are fans of the game, but not in the best position. This is the top 5 plays of last week. We got a kick block for the Giants against the Seahawks. So a lot of people was like, what was going on with that Giants and Seahawks game? This was going on. Defense and special teams, man. Defense and special teams. The Seahawks offense was okay, but, and I don't know about the 49ers special teams maybe stepping up, seeing that tonight. Now, as far as what went on with the 49ers and the Cardinals, well, Kyler Murray, he's so unless he's playing the 49ers. For whatever reason, he taps into his inner Michael Vick. And then we got another Giants and Seahawks highlight. This is basically like a goal line stand. And where the Seahawks ran off with the ball. So it was a lot of, thievery, give me that, snatch and grab like they running out of the stores. Okay. Then we got Lamar, fumbling on the ball, stiff arming the guy. I think I showed you guys this on Monday night, but, if you didn't see it, you seen it again. So anybody that says Lamar can't pass, he got something else to say. And then this I don't like. This is part of why Gardner Minshew lost his job. I wanted to always support our black African-American coaches, but I think Antonio Pierce overreact because Gardner Minshew coming into this game was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And the Broncos are playing pretty good. I think people have to face that. Constantly changing quarterbacks is part of the reason maybe why, you got Devontae Adams that wants to leave. You can't really deal with that as a receiver or as offensive lineman, running backs. You're dealing with these musical chairs at quarterback. This is more the scene from London when they were out there practicing. So basically, they got the Chicago Bears practicing in the farm, / football field, So it's just a little nice vacation, tourist type thing. I'm trying to see if they got this week's slate. Okay, yeah. So these are the primetime games. This isn't the whole slate. But primetime Thursday night, you're going to have the 49ers and the Seahawks. Then on Sunday Night Football, we got the Bengals against the Giants. You can sleep on it if you want to, but the Giants are figuring out ways to win games, especially when they got Malik Neighbors. But even when they don't have them, I guess it's just confidence. But the Bengals do need one. They lost against the Ravens. I don't see them losing again. I think the Giants are going to lose in a close one. Then on Monday night, we got Buffalo and the Jets. The Jets just fired their coach. Buffalo needs to win. I think this is a disaster. This could get ugly for the Jets. That can get ugly. You know, I would go Josh Allen, big as far as like player props. Now let's check out what's going on in the world of college football before we get out of here because I don't want to be too long. As I showed you guys earlier, we got a couple college football games. You also got the MLB playoffs going on. So this is what a lot of people are talking about. How Cam Ward went from only one scholarship offer, which was a FCS, Division I AA offer. He went to Incarnate Ward. One offer can change your life, and it changed mine. So to all the high school kids thinking that, you got to go to the big D1s or the SEC or whatever, this guy is probably going to be the Heisman and the number one pick or one of the top picks, top quarterback in the country, probably going to the playoffs. And he started off 2 years at Incarnate Ward, 2 years at Washington State, and now it's last year. It's going to be at Miami, so that's a dope transition, because he was in the option offense, so they really didn't pass the ball in high school. But I guess he really got in that playbook. He really studied. He had a quarterback coach, and he was determined. He comes from a decent family. You see, they really support him. Even part of his decision coming to Miami instead of being a late-round draft pick, coming back for his senior year, it was really, a big discussion with him and his family. Of course, it was a bag involved, a lot of NIL, but I think he's doing better for himself based on the decision that he made, to come back. I took it personal. I tell myself every day that I'm the S. So we got to watch our language. Some people have been complaining about, Cam, let's tone it down, but I guess he's fitting in with Miami. I do play with a lot of heart, a lot of hate in my heart. So I guess he got hatred towards everybody that overlooked him, But shout out to the U and shout out to Cam Ward. Also, some people like Arch Manning, but this Oklahoma defense, you got to be careful. So number one, Texas expects their quarterback back, Quinn Ewers, to return versus number 18, Oklahoma. So Texas and Oklahoma will be the SEC on ABC game at 3:30 on Saturday Eastern time. It says the Longhorns will continue to monitor Ewers' recovery through the week. Head coach Steve Sarkisian said Ewers practiced 3 times last week and again Monday. I feel good about him going into Saturday, but that remains to be seen. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, it's a big rivalry game, so I guess you want your top dog to play. But you just better have Arch Manning ready because Quinn Ewers, been kind of like fragile over the years. Okay, now Diego Pavia. Speaking of Cam Ward making people believe, he had 0 FBS offers coming out of high school, had a partial scholarship to wrestle at Nebraska. So you already know he's a tough guy. I wanted to wrestle in high school, but I didn't know how serious it was. I wish I would have stuck with it. Shout out to Coach Pellegrini. But anyway, he says, I'm not really supposed to be here. I've been doubted. had to walk on at a junior college. So from here on out, it's a chip on my shoulder wherever I go. So he's the quarterback for Vanderbilt. A lot of people give it Alabama flack for Vanderbilt, but it's a transfer portal. So this isn't your regular Vanderbilt. These aren't those smart kids that got in straight out of high school. A lot of these guys transferred in. They probably had decent grades at JUCO or at their other college, but that doesn't reflect what it is like to come out of high school to go to Vanderbilt. So just like they've lost guys like the guy that they sent to Miami that plays corner or the safety and the wide receiver that's at Colorado. They also, then the wide receiver that they sent to Georgia, because they've always had skilled guys. It's been the line of scrimmage. They got a decent coach that comes from Notre Dame. They got nice schemes. They did a lot of misdirection, and they kept the ball away from Alabama. Alabama is not a bad team. They just came off a physical game against Georgia, and, they got caught slipping. Same thing with Virginia Tech. Everybody was like, how did Miami struggle with Virginia Tech? You saw what Virginia Tech did to Stanford, and you saw that they almost came back against Vanderbilt. It's just Vanderbilt is not going to lay down. I don't know why everybody thinks just because the logo is not as well known that players aren't going there. A lot of players are spreading all out through the country because they rather go to a Vanderbilt or go to a Kentucky, go to a Mississippi State, go to a Syracuse than sit on the bench at Alabama or Miami or Florida State or wherever, So That's part of why things are the way they are. So this is Diego Pavia after Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Now Vanderbilt has a big game against Kentucky, who beat Ole Miss. So both of these are upset specials, but now we're trying to see if they're for real in an SEC game where everybody sees them coming. So that's going to be another I want to say either 12 o'clock or 3:30 game in the SEC. You're going to have Vanderbilt, you're going to have Kentucky. So shout out to both of those teams. We also got Quinn Ewers, 5-0 Texas, but actually this is Arch Manning, but you got a 5-0 Texas team, 5-0 Ohio State that faces Oregon. Then you also got Miami 6-0. We got 5-0 Penn State, and they face USC this week on the road, so they might get upset. We got a Indiana team that's been riding 6-0. We got Army, like I told you, 5-0. Navy 5-0, excuse me. Oregon that faces Ohio State 5-0. Then we got Iowa State 5-0 in that Big 12. BYU 5-0 in that Big 12. Pittsburgh. Now they face Cal on Saturday. We're gonna see, but they're 5-0 in the ACC. And then we got Liberty in the Sun Belt. They really don't have any more tough games. It's just can they maintain it? They just beat FIU, but Liberty, they were undefeated into the bowl game against Oregon last year. So we'll see how it goes because they got shellacked. But this is one of the leaders, if not the leader for Heisman. Ashton Genty. He did well against Oregon. He's done well against everybody. I think through 5 games, he has 1,000 yards on only 95 carries, averaging 10.9 per carry. So that's over a first down every time he touched the ball, and 16 touchdowns. So he's not even halfway through the year. Last week against Utah State on only 13 carries, he had 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's video game numbers if you play it on easy. Against Washington State, a big-time school, he had 26 carries, 259 yards, and a touchdown. Against Oregon, 25 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. So it's not like he does it against small fries. He does it against everybody. Against Georgia Southern, pretty decent defense, 20 carries, 267 yards, 6 touchdowns. So this guy's the truth. And then we're going to get out of here after this. A big shout-out to the South Florida native, Jeremiah Smith. They're saying that Ohio State is going from Chris Olave, New Orleans Saints, to Garrett Wilson, New York Jets, to Jackson Smith-Njigba, Seahawks tonight, to Marvin Harrison Jr., Cardinals, to now Jeremiah Smith, the true freshman. It says is a historic run of wide receivers. Yeah, I can't take that from him, man. I cannot take that from him. But they got their wide receiver coach is a former Miami Dolphin Brian Hartline. He got 1,000 yards. He's kind of like a possession guy, a route guy. So they're learning from a guy that's a technician, And also the Miami was actually voted as the greatest 30 for 30 on ESPN 30 for 30 ever. So they were doing the anniversary of 30 for 30s. And they might be doing a U Part 3. They already did U Part 2, but the way Cristobal is bringing it back, they may have to do a U Part 3. But you got to do a 30 for 30 on Alabama. I don't know. As an Ole Miss fan, I'm going to stay out of that. But I think they got a couple 30 for 30s they need to make. But, yeah, the U Part 3 is definitely in the making. We're watching it right now because Miami just got probably one of the best wide receivers in the country, Joshua Moore. He kept his word. He said if Miami played well, he would probably, switch over from Florida, and he did. So that's going to be the show for the day. You guys see the picks. Also, yeah, the bonuses. Thank you for sticking around. I'm going to give you guys the bonuses. The bonus picks for the day. So the stuff that I don't already have up. So some of my bonuses I want to go with. Okay, let's look. Now, I already gave you guys Brandon Aiyuk over 63.5, and I gave you D.Metcalf over 63.5. Also gave Jawan Jennings over 63.5. So let's look at some other player props that you guys may want to go with. Now, for one thing, the total points is 48.5. So, what would that be, like a 20 to 28 game? I would say I may want to go. Let's see if we can switch it to 50. I would go under 50. I don't know because. I think the defense is kind of hold up. I would go under 50 total points for the game, or under 50.5, 51.5. Yeah, I would kind of try to see if I can go under 50 for total points. Let me see. Yeah, if you go under 50, that's still minus 135. If you go under 51.5, that's minus 170. Yeah, so let's go under 50. As far as total points, another bonus I would probably want to give you guys on the passing. They got Brock Purdy for 251. I want to go under that. For Geno Smith, they got 250. I'm gonna leave that alone. He may do that. All right. George Kittle, 47.5. I would go under on that. Tyler Lockett, 43.5. I'm gonna leave that one alone. No, I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under on Tyler Lockett because I think Jackson Smith is gonna get a lot of balls. Okay, receiving for Kenneth Walker, 22.5. I'm gonna go under. Let's see. Kyle Hughes check for the 49ers, 6.5. I'm gonna go under. These are just bonuses. Okay, let's see. For receptions, how many catches they're gonna catch? George Kittle, 4.5. I'm gonna go under. I think he'll probably catch like 4, but he'll get some yards though. Jennings catches, 2.5. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Noah Fant catches. Okay, Zach Charbonnet catches, 2.5. I want to go under on that. Okay. Now with the rushing game, Jordan Mason, 85.5. I don't like that. Okay, Kenneth Walker, 61.5. I will go under on that. So that's gonna be my bonuses, and that's gonna be the show for the day. Thank you guys for watching, and put in those picks.